What's going on, everybody? C4, welcome back to the channel. It is the first day, true day of spring, summer where I'm living. It's barbecue season. Dusted the old bad boy off. Point being, I want to get outside. I don't want to be stuck inside all day playing Madden. So I figure it's been a minute since we have done a mock draft. It has been even more of a minute. We haven't done one yet this year that I've done a specific 7-round mock draft for my Philadelphia Eagles. So that is what we're going to do here today. And we haven't even really talked much about the draft for the Philadelphia Eagles after the trade here, down in the high teens with the New Orleans Saints, where basically Philly kicked one of their first-round picks this year. We had 3. We gave one to the Saints. We had a first-rounder next year, which just speaks volumes of their confidence of Jalen Hurts. But we kicked the can down the road, essentially. Philly got a first, fit the flip from this year to next year, and we also picked up a second and third-round pick along the way. We're going to have some fun with this mock draft. We're going to be trading. There's going to be some, I already recorded one. I recorded a mock draft. I uploaded it, and then I watched it one last time, and I was like, man, I don't know. I don't want to put this up, because I'll tell you right now, I didn't end up drafting a corner high. I didn't get a corner till the 3rd round, and all of my safeties got depleted. So I basically finished the mock draft saying, all right, this mock looks pretty good, assuming Philadelphia signs one of Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, or Stephon Gilmore. Now, Philly has been linked to both of those players. I would love to see Philly get one of them. At this point, I'm probably preferring Stephon Gilmore just because I like the safeties in this draft. I think maybe more so in the 2nd round, Philly will be able to target a safety. But either or, I'm not going to have a full confident mock draft until both those players sign, be it in Philadelphia or be it elsewhere. And I'm not overly optimistic. I mean, Philly was a playoff team last year, but I don't know how truly appealing we're going to be to a guy like Gilmore, a guy like Honey Badger that either A, want to get paid a lot of money. Philly has money, but we don't have crazy money to spend. Or they want to go to a team that's a legit Super Bowl contender. And while I do think the Philadelphia Eagles can compete for the playoffs again next season, not really a Super Bowl contender. There's probably other more competitive teams that are also looking to bring in a Honey Badger or a Stephon Gilmore. So for this mock draft, we're also going to, just to keep the trades in line, we're using the trade value chart here. I've highlighted all of the Philadelphia Eagles picks. Unfortunately, it doesn't really value future first-round picks. I will tell you, the last little kind of mock-up I had actually Philly trading out of 18 here with the Seattle Seahawks. Malik Willis was still on the board on my last little playthrough. So I was going to be like, all right, if I'm Philly and someone like Seattle wants him, I would flip 18 for a 2nd this year, a 1st next year, maybe like a 2 and a 4 this year, and then a 1st next year, knowing that we get a 2 and a 3, essentially from the Saints. And I think that could be totally valid. I think this 18th pick, depending on what the Saints do with 16 and 19, there is a chance that, a Kenny Pickett, or on this mock, Malik Willis is already gone here, but one of those two could be there at 18. Philly can look at trading back again. I don't think it's going to be the worst thing in the world for Philly to try to figure out how to have 3 first-round picks next year. I think next year is, unfortunately, Bryce Young or bust, and I also don't think Philly is going to be tanking. I don't think Philly's going to have that 1st overall pick, which is probably what you're going to have to move up for if you want Bryce Young. So, I mean, it's just being a realist, it's more likely than not Philly's not going to get a Bryce Young, even with all the crazy draft capital. And we're going to have to start looking at your secondary type quarterbacks, which I don't even know where you can rank it right now. You got like CJ Stroud, but he's so streaky, hot and cold. It's just Bryce Young and everyone else right now when you're talking about the quarterbacks for next year's draft. So what we're doing in this mock draft, I'll tell you right now, seeing how this board, I actually tried to pause it. I did pause it after the Seattle pick because I think the Jets would be willing to do business with the Eagles. But they took Garrett Wilson. I was actually thinking about trading it for Garrett Wilson. But now you're sitting here at pick 11. Interdivisional trades don't always happen. But for the sake of this mock draft, sitting there at 11, I mean, Washington could do a lot of things here. I think Stingley's intriguing. I also think if I'm watching, I'm probably, knowing that you got Carson Wentz, I'm probably looking for a wide receiver. Again, they could just as easily go corner, right? But if I'm Philadelphia, this is where we're going to try and make a move. We have pick 15 and 18, and given the state of the trade chart, we need to find a way to get a 1250 in terms of value. So if we send pick 15 and we send pick 83, that will give us equal, appropriate, a reasonable trade offer to move up. So we're going to get 15, and we're going to go with, which 3rd should we go? 83, and we also have pick 101. That's a comp pick. That's worth 96. So yeah, we're gonna have to go 83. So we're gonna look for football team, the Commanders. I guess we might as well put respect on their new stupid name. We're gonna try and get 11 there. So we're gonna trade pick 15 and 83 to move up to pick 11, where we can select Derek Stingley Jr., corner out of LSU. I feel like after the pro day, I want to let me make this pick. After the pro day, you know, you're really just banking on that if you get him, you can get him back to the 2019 form, which I think if you have any form of defensive coordinator that's worth a damn, and I think Jonathan Gannon shown by, you know, I think his secondary was pretty solid last year given the talent outside of Darius Slay. But I think the biggest thing for me is that when you look at someone like Derek Stingley, you get generational type upside at that corner spot. And that's not always there. So we're going to grab him. It's kind of, I'll tell you right now, I was really hoping one of Jameson Williams or Chris Olave was still going to be on the board at pick 18, but that's fine. We have other needs that we could potentially go. We got our lockdown corner. We could tick that box off. And again, this mock draft's done under the assumption that, you know, we can't just forecast Philadelphia landing Stephon Gilmore here. So if not, you know, Derek Stingley, day one player on the outside. And my point being, going back to Gannon, is that as much as Gannon's kind of divisive in the fan base, some people think he's trash, some people think he was getting head coach interviews. Legitimate, I think he had two, one with Houston and one, maybe only had the Houston one. I mean, they're a shit show, but either way, he's hyped up right now. And I figure someone like Derek Stingley, I mean, we could just as easily keep our pick and maybe get a McDuffie. Just the size concerns of McDuffie. If Philly came out and if we get a soundbite that Gannon values and views Trent McDuffie as an outside corner, and he looks at the comps of like a Jair Alexander, I mean, Trent McDuffie would be excellent in our zone scheme. But he's no Derek Stingley. So maybe this is boom or bust, but I wanted to be aggressive to get a impact playmaker as a rookie, and that is exactly what Derek Stingley can do if you can find a way to tap into that 2019. I'm gambling on that, plus the athleticism all freaking day. So back here at pick 18, again, still could be looking if you know, the Saints don't have their quarterback. The Saints at 19 could be locking in on Pickett or Ritter or whatever. The Steelers could be looking to trade up. I mean, Pittsburgh doesn't have a whole lot there. I don't know how aggressive the Steelers would be for a quarterback, and it does actually seem like a lot of Steelers fans, at least from what I could tell, you know, given this classic quarterback, they seem to be fine going with Mitchell Trubisky next season. But again, I would, at 18, given this board right now, especially the position, I mean, Burks could be nice. You could look at Devontae Wyatt at defensive line. You could get a pass rusher here, Jabo. More so a red shirt type deal if you get a Jabo. But Philly has shown in the past they're fine getting guys that aren't going to contribute right away as rookies. You have Devin Lloyd at linebacker. We might just have to pull the trigger here. Safety is a big one. Safety is a spot that we might want to be a little aggressive at. But you know what? I'll say right now, pick 18, as much as I don't think it's going to happen, I just think if you're Philadelphia, I'm not gambling on Davion Taylor again. I feel like that's just way too risky. And as much as we got Kaiser White, I think Kaiser White can be a beast for us. He's still only on a one-year deal. And while in a perfect world, Kaiser White looks like the baller that he was at the Chargers, earns himself a second contract. Between him and TJ Edwards and Davion Taylor, don't have to worry about a linebacker. But Devin Lloyd is very good. Looking at how the board is, I would say Olave and Jordan Davis would be the two players that would be a dream here. If Philly could find a way to aggressively get Derek Stingley and still get a legit wide receiver one, or a guy that's instantly plug and play, the replacement for Fletcher Cox, that's kind of, I mean, you got to Devontae Wyatt, that's maybe not great value at 18, plus he's 24, he's an old rookie. There might be more value at D-tackle later. Like, I love Winfrey. I've had a couple mocks where I've taken him in the second round for Philadelphia. But sitting here at pick 18, the value's not great. This is where I'm looking to trade. I mean, you look at the trade value chart, 18's 900, Pittsburgh's 850. So they only got to make up 50 points. And we really would like to try to figure out how to get, you're looking at what Pittsburgh, they don't have crazy draft capital by any means, right? So I don't really think I'm going to trade back. I think we're going to hold on to this pick. And at this time, I think we get Devin Lloyd. We break the mold. We go against the grain. We know Philly's almost certainly not going to draft a linebacker here. Like, given the board, given the talent, given the playmaking ability, given the like, that's what we're landing here. As Kenny Pickett there goes to the Saints, we're landing impact playmakers as rookies. And I think you get that and you maximize that with Derek Stingley, who would project to be corner 2, and Devin Lloyd, who would project to be a starting linebacker. You know, you'd work it with Devin Lloyd. You'd have TJ Edwards in on early downs, but you know, if you're running nickel, you'd go Devin Lloyd and Kaiser White, and you feel pretty good about that. So now we look at the other needs for Philadelphia at this point. We got corner, we got a linebacker, so now you're looking at edge rushers. Who's going to be available in our range? We'll pause eventually here. I'll cut the video at the beginning of the second round. We can maybe look at trying to move up, see who falls into that second round. That's always where you want to be a little bit aggressive because there's always guys you probably have first round grades on that slip into the second. So let's see what we can get there. We're back, and we're taking a look at the Seattle Seahawks here. They have 2 picks. Again, we know the Seahawks are in a full-on rebuild mode to be looking to acquire as much assets as they can. They just got a tackle. So now they're looking at 41. So the Seahawks have got Malik Willis at 9, and they follow it up getting Tyler Smith, legit tackle prospect. So I'm looking at 41. Look at the trade value here. To go from basically 10 spots, $390 is the value of 51. You gotta need to get up to $490, around there. So I'm gonna be just slightly on the side of optimism, and I'm gonna send pick 51, which is worth $390, and then our second, third round pick, 101, the comp, 96, to give us pretty fair value. I think we're off by like 5 points, so we'll just, you know, maybe we'll throw a condition in there, but we are going to manufacture a trade to go up 10 spots from 51. We're going to throw 101 in there as we're going to do our damage. We're going to make that move, and we're doing it for a reason, because the safety board's getting absolutely depleted, and as we are making this mock draft, you kind of just, you know, do we make an assumption here, or are we aggressive and maybe we get a George Pickens? George Pickens would be so freaking good. That's the toss-up here. You could look at Christian Watson if he's still there, Sky Moore. This is where Philly could be aggressive getting a wide receiver, but I think given the board of safeties, you have Lewis. Actually, I don't know, man. I actually literally did this trade on the assumption that we're grabbing a safety. But looking at the wide receivers that are still on the board, I mean, it's fair to assume that Sky Moore and Christian Watson in a real scenario won't be here. But I think I would actually, knowing how aggressive this is my mock draft. I really like both those players, but I think I would trade up for George Pickens. All said and done, this guy is elite wide receiver 1 traits. I think Philly is absolutely terrified of the cost of these wide receivers. It is more beneficial than ever, especially seeing the money that the DK Metcalfs are getting ready to command, the Deebo Samuels are getting, like that market, the wide receiver market set by Christian Kirk, and now you're seeing all these massive contracts going to Stephon Diggs got paid, you know, Devontae Adams, like all these guys, it seems like every other week teams are re-upping to reset the market. So it's now more prevalent than ever to hit on talented, cheap, affordable wide receivers. And for me, I'm going with George Pickens. 6'3", jump ball specialist, elite route running for that size, 4.4 speed. I think he's absolutely the kind of guy that can be our wide receiver 2. Devontae's wide receiver 1, and then you have someone like, you know, Quez Watkins. Big Quez Watkins stands on this channel. He could be the guy that gets your separation downfield. But I know if I didn't do that, though, I was absolutely going to be looking at a Lewisine or Jaquan Brisker at safety. But again, maybe we just throw a little bit of assumption here that if Philly was making these aggressive trades, maybe that means we landed a Honey Badger in free agency. Only other target I would have considered outside of Pickens, and I wouldn't have traded up if we stayed put there at 51. And you look at the board, I already knew he was going to be gone. The safeties would be gone. I absolutely think Perion Winfrey out of Oklahoma would be very, very good on the Phillies D-line rotation. So we chilled a little bit from getting trade crazy, but now we're sitting here at 124, and before the 5th round, I really think, like, you know, it's not all about needs. You're looking at BPA here. I think someone like Jeremy Ruckert at tight end, if we really want to be aggressive and get that tight end too. I am a Gator fan. Gator bias, could run wild. Dameon Pierce would be excellent. I think running back's a spot for the Philadelphia Eagles. People aren't thinking about 2023. Running backs under contract right now for this team going to 2023 is Kenny Gainwell. I don't think we're going to re-sign Miles Sanders. Someone like Dameon Pierce would be an absolute hoss. But I feel like, given the depth, there's still some running backs here that could make sense for the Eagles. Pierce, Robinson could fall. Zamir White could be interesting. Abram Smith. Like, there's options. You look at safety, And while it'd be fair to assume that maybe we find a way to get a safety, Honey Badger, something like that. I think given the current board, I am very, very intrigued by JT Woods. Yeah, he had 6 picks last year, proven production, ball hawk, but he's 6'2", had interceptions, ran a 4.3. I feel like that's just the type of athleticism that look at our safety room right now, whatever we're doing. Even if we bring in Honey Badger, and you get Honey Badger for the versatility, we do not have a lot of good athletes. Marcus Epps, not an athlete. Kevon Wallace, not really much of an athlete, Anthony Harris, 1-year Band-Aid, not much of an athlete. I feel like something like JT Woods adds a sense of athleticism that really, obviously slay, but in terms of like pure blue chip type athletes, we have Avonte Maddox. That's about it. So I feel like you get some size, you get some range, you get some proven ball production, and I'm all about anybody off that Baylor defense. Baylor defense was easily one of the best defenses in college football, had a bunch of studs, bunch of athletes. So maybe it's a slight reach, currently getting a 4th, 5th round grade. In a perfect world, maybe we could get him around 158 at that 154 pick. But looking at the safety market, it is kind of just getting destroyed here. And maybe a slight reach, but I like the athletic profile, so we're gonna grab a JT Woods at pick 124 in the 4th round. Great athlete, guy that can maybe surprise and play sooner than later as our safety. All right, sitting here in the 5th round at 154, I was thinking about packaging maybe our 7th round pick to move up to one of these 2 picks for Seattle, just in case someone wanted to leapfrog us. It's still really good value here. You can get Ruckert, easy selection at 154, still immense value. But for me, it's my mock draft. I'm getting Dameon Pierce. I feel like going into 2023, you have the power, the underrated ability of Dameon Pierce. I think he's going to be one of the best running backs in this class. You pair that with Kenny Gainwell, makes it a lot easier to kind of pass up on having to panic overpay potentially for Miles Sanders. So I'll take that every day of the week. Sitting here at 162, we're playing the mock draft game. Jeremy Ruckert, 3rd, 4th round grade right now. Maybe goes to the 4th because of the lack of production. The fact that he's still there in the 5th round, 88th ranked player. Is he going to fall that far? I don't know. But looking at the 5th round, this is where you start to get some depth. Looking at where we could go now. We're still edge. You can still go D-line. I have a plan. Not so much for D-line. The D-line talent has kind of dried up a little bit. I think, you got Davis, Central Florida there, good run stuffer. Jaden Peavy's underrated. Hennig Skin had a good combo. I don't know. Looking at, I like the pass rushers a lot more here still at edge. Sign me up. Alex Wright has upside. Gunter's a good athlete. Chris Allen's very underrated right now out of Alabama. Has some injury concerns. But for me, we're going to start looking at all these guys. I think if Ruckert's there, if he's falling, I'll say this. Here would be the alternate. If you go, oh my God, there's no way Ruckert there. I would just as easily, and this is more realistic, I think Charlie Kohler out of Iowa State, I think actually Philly worked him out. That could be super realistic here at 162. So I'll just say this is a tight end pick for the sake of this mock and the chance. It's probably for Ruckert to still be in the 5th round, probably like 35% chance maybe that happens. He's a 3rd, 4th round grade right now. That'd be generous. That'd be optimistic. If you don't think that's real, just act like I put Charlie Kohler here. I would take Kohler in the 5th round. But if the board is Kohler and Ruckert is still there, I'm going with the upside of Jeremy Ruckert to come in and be tight end 2 behind Dallas Goedert for the Philadelphia Eagles. I also would have absolutely considered Tyson Anderson if he was still there. Versatile player. All right, 166. This is where we look at pass rushers. I like some of the guys that are here available. I think you look at Chris Allen, has some injury concerns at Alabama. He's more of, and would come in as a Hassan Reddick understudy, if you will. I think Philly's going to be more interested in getting a guy that can go on the line and be, upside potential successor, because we have the 1-year Band-Aid with Derek Barnett. So I think you're kind of, another guy, kind of tweener, maybe better suited as a 3-4 edge. Gunter's a good athlete, but for my money, I think I'm going to go Isaiah Thomas, the pass rusher. He's been productive. I think back-to-back, almost fringe 10-sack seasons for Oklahoma. 4.7 in the 40, much more of a scheme fit for the Philadelphia Eagles. Can work his way in on a rotation, maybe offers a little bit more juice too, proven production at a high level, because you have Teron Jackson there, kind of rotational guy out of Coastal Carolina. So for my money, I think I'd go with a guy with a little bit bigger game experience to be our top rotational option. So in the 5th round, I'm getting Isaiah Thomas the pass rusher from Oklahoma. And currently, that's around his grade. He has a 5th round grade, according to the Dane Brugler, the beast that disc dropped. So we're going to wait here to the 7th round, where we're going to try to probably take the best athlete that's available. So with our final selection, 237 in the 7th round, I kind of want just like the best athlete. You could look here, Isaiah Weston, freak athlete, crazy off the chart Raz. But, back end depth, looking at the Eagles here, depth chart, I don't know. You could. Just another guy that can get separation downfield, but maybe we're not going to give up on Hightower yet. Rest of the offense feels good. You look at the defense, you could look at D lineman. I didn't get a D tackle in this mock draft. Given the guys that are left, though, I feel like, Marlon T here was a solid value pick. He had like a 3rd, 4th round grade. So I don't know. Maybe we're okay with the D tackle depth. That could be a spot that we look at next year. We got our pass. I just feel like you go with the best athlete. I'm looking at the depth in the secondary. Even though we brought in JT Woods, even though we brought in Derek Stingley, still don't have the greatest of depth. I mean, outside, like you throw in Stingley, it means we're going Zach McPherson, who still might be better suited as slot depth. Tay Gowan, who's the player that we got from the Zach Ertz trade, we still don't know what he has. I just see question marks as far as depth corner, depth safety. So you're kind of looking at best athletes available at the defensive back position. I'm looking at the safety spot. I mean, there's some good athletes. Scott Nelson had a good pro day. You could look at Nolan Turner at Clemson. You could look at, Polamalu is related to Troy Polamalu. You want to go that bad in terms of like athletes like Blunt, Blankenship, Percy Butler, but not exactly the best scheme fits. Thomas could be interesting. I'm going to look at the corners that are still available on the board. There's some great athletes that are still available, but I'm going to make a little bit of a throwback pick. Daryl Baker Jr. is a very good athlete. You could take a look here at Chris Steele, intriguing former 5-star recruit. Kind of did my Florida Gators dirty, remembering way back when. I think Jack Jones is a great slot corner. Don't really need that depth right now. So I'm going to more so take this as not the same type of player, but the same kind of, why not? Late round flyer guy with upside. I'm going to look at Cordale Flott, the corner from LSU. Has played inside, has played nickel, has played safety. Probably should have gone higher. Kind of surprised he's still there. Has like a 5th, 6th round grade right now. Still available in the 7th. That reminds me of at LSU, a DB at LSU that succeeded pretty well here in Philadelphia. Jalen Mills. So Cordale Flott will fill our Jalen Mills late round value LSU DB. I'd say just classify him as a defensive back. Long rangey, ran a 4.5 on the dot. Only 20 years old. That's another reason why I'd pick him. Has some more upside. Plenty of football left. And that's why we're making as our final pick. So there you go, fellas. That is my 7-round Philadelphia Eagle mock draft. Let me know how you feel about this. Being aggressive, trading up for Stingley, getting Devin Lloyd in the 1st round, trading back up to secure the services of George Pickens, ending up with JT Woods at safety. Again, if you're upset with the record pick, insert Charlie Kolar. If you still, that's just as easy and a little bit more believable at the 5th round. I just took the value that was there. And then we got a nice rotational pass rusher and a young, versatile, upside defensive back in the 7th round. So let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. As always, first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. We'll have some Madden content back out for you guys Friday and into the weekend. So I see you guys then. Thank you very much for watching, and peace out.